This is Pilgrims Project X. It is the new version of the Pilgrims, which is our all-rounder. People have said, is it a gravel bike? How big a tyre? All that sort of stuff. When I first came up with this, I kind of defined it as road plus. What it means to Bowman is it's a road bike plus a little bit. It's a great road bike for all-round road use, but then you can fit slightly bigger tyres on, up to 32. So it's a road bike with a little bit more. Originally we'd used 7000 series because it's a little bit tougher. It's a slightly stiffer material, but it's a little bit more resistant to knocks and bangs. What we found, it was actually a little bit too much for something that was so road focused. So we kind of went more down Palace route. Thin wall, triple butted, front triangle, shares a couple of tubes with the Palace, a couple of different butt lengths, things like that. Same seat tube, longer chain stays for disc brakes and more clearance. Seat stays are different, not as flat, not as oval. A lot of that's to do with braking force. Like the Palace, and like everything we're going to be doing, return of the thread, so threaded BB, every manufacturer makes a crank that fits, bottom brackets are easy to fit. Home maintenance, home mechanics, fixing it yourself, building it yourself, you're safer with a thread. And with the new manufacturer we're working with now, we can get the clearance we need with a threaded BB. Stability was more of an issue when you're riding off-road, so lower BB lowers the centre of gravity. Longer chainstay gives you a bit more stability anyway, because the back end kicks out a little bit. When it goes in a more predictable fashion. 12mm for axle at the back. 142 hub spacing, flat mounts, forwards drop out, full cable routing, those guides on the chainstay there. Cable routing we kind of ummed and ahed a little bit about. Speaking to original Pilgrims customers, a lot of people really liked a full cable outer front to back. We're not 100% certain whether we're going to go with these welded in parts or whether we're going to go with an insert. I'd quite like to be able to remove those and cover those if you're running electric cables. 2 holes one side, 1 hole the other. Cables in there, fully inside the down tube. The front cable outer will come out and then end at the stop. Removable cable stop. There's a hole in there for Di2 if you take it out. And then the outer will run just zip tied on. Really simple, really clean. Geometry is identical. These are two 56cm frames. Head tube's the same. Everyone who's ridden one of the original Pilgrims loves it. It was around 300 grams lighter for the new frame compared to the old one. And the old one, we had one of those built up with like a SRAM red hydraulic group set and some pretty reasonable wheels. Aluminium finishing kit, and that weighed just over 8 and a bit kilos. We should be able to get this down with a high-end build to kind of 7 and a bit, 7.5. Probably looking at 1250, 1350, something like that, depending on the size and the thickness of the paint. In terms of tyre clearance, there's 38mm between the chainstays, so there should be plenty of room around a 32C tyre. When we changed aluminium factories, what we learnt from this one, in terms of size, shape, feel, we tried to get a little bit more comfort with the layout, a little bit more of an aesthetic that matched the new frames. 12mm for axle, flat mounts for mudguards, bonded it into the back rather than a hole through like we would have on the caliper fork. Mount on the back for a mudguard, the same mount on the front for a dynamo mount, something like that. You kind of custom bend your mudguard stays, they're a little bit higher, but it clears any size rotor, any size adapter. If you start having this too low, what we found with the other fork is they can start interfering. And one of the reasons it is very road focused, rather than it being something like, say, this is the Footscray fork, very different lengths. This is road fork 375 or 380, cyclocross fork 400 long. You can't get the same trail. Yeah, you can't get the same feel out of a long fork. No matter what head angle and what fork rake you use, you can't get the same feel as you can with a shorter fork. In order to get it to feel like a road bike when you're running skinny tyres, you can't really go more than 380, which is one of the reasons it's ended up with 32C tyres really as our maximum size. That's about as big as you can go on a 380 fork. We've got the same flare square seat tube and the same braze-on front mech. Welded in, not bonded. You can go onto the website, Bowman-cycles.com. There's a Project Pilgrims X page there. Full production colour samples in the UK in the middle of May, at which point when we're looking at doing sign up. So yeah, until then.